There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello, and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
What up?
What up?
How's
Hi.
it going?
It's good.
Yeah, it was a great Oak Island week, wasn't it?
OMG. Yes.
We had a lot of amazing, kind of crazy stuff happening on that tiny little island in the North Atlantic.
That we all love so much, shaped like an elephant.
Yes, that island. I mean, and I can't wait to see what happens next week, right?
Well, we got a glimpse. Are
We
you
got a
already
glimpse.
skipping to next
No,
week's
I'm just
episode?
I'm stoked about what's going on.
Oh, I know. Like, whoa. I thought we were going to be so much in the swamp this year.
Mm-hmm.
And right now,
No, we're doing the area kind of between the Money Pit and Smith's Cove. We're touching on the area between the Money Pit and the swamp.
did you see we have a new place?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
I know. It has a name.
Yeah.
It's not No Man's Land.
So that's basically what we thought it was before, right?
Yeah, I thought it was a clump of trees. And ta-da!
It's the Highlands.
It's the Highlands!
Yeah, they've probably been using that name forever.
Oh,
but,
I'm sure.
you know,
We just
we're
weren't
just not
privy
savvy.
to the... Savvy?
Privy. Privy is what I meant.
Yeah, to that information. But, you know,
Mhm.
we have Masons, we have Templars, we have Spanish, we have
Scottish?
Scottish now.
Up in the Highlands?
Yeah, they literally have their own area.
Mm-hmm. This is like, it's kind of like Epcot, right?
Oh, good
Epcot,
call.
Disney World Epcot, it's like where all the countries come together, you know?
So the Money Pit area is where all the countries come together.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a big giant, like, weird shaped ball under there. Like, that's
Like a
what the
boulder?
treasure's in, you know? No, you know, like the Epcot dome.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like a boulder that would chase Indiana Jones, but not.
That's Disneyland.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Not Disney World.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, cool episode. Lots of interesting stuff going on.
We jump all over the place. We follow the sluice way.
Sluice way.
Sluice. Like juice, but sluice.
Yeah. Yeah. So the beginning of the episode starts with Dan Henske walking down to the Sluice Way rediscovery, that whole area, with Rick.
Yep.
And Rick's basically giving Dan a big pat in the back all the way. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you're you know, because if it wasn't for Dan, they wouldn't have found it."
Yeah, he obviously has been spending a lot of time doing research, and to find something like that where you go, oh yeah, this would have led directly to this, which is what we're looking for.
Yeah, I wonder how long Dan had that on the back, in the back of his mind or whatever, or if it was just a recent rediscovery of some paper from M.R. Chapel that he had rediscovered that nobody's seen in decades or whatever.
Well, it's like a lot of things on Oak Island. You hear of, they put dynamite in the holes, but we haven't ever had, until now, some solid evidence of exactly where those were, because they're not taking GPS coordinates, right?
Not back in the day, no.
No. And then same thing with the sluice way. If they had maybe heard about it, did that really happen? We know they never tested it because it went bankrupt. Was it ever actually tested? Did they actually ever complete it? And where exactly is it?
Well, it was working, because it's working today.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Incredible engineering for the 19th century. Unbelievable.
For it to just...
Marty kept saying, like, look at the
working.
construction of this, like, look at the wood. It was built so good.
It was. And the fact, like Marty brought up, was it's buried so deep. And these were just searchers in this amazing construction without the excavator, without their own billy. And it was hard for us to get to it. Imagine whoever deposited whatever happened here just to find the tunnels from searchers. And that's not as old as those who would have deposited. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So they followed the sluice way back to the big discovery at the end of the episode of finding Shaft 9. And that's what you're talking about, how Marty was so impressed with these guys digging down so deep with this really great construction that's still there, that's still looking good. And he said what, it goes down another 90 feet.
And 90 feet.
Yeah, and then Rick's like, yeah, 11 stories.
11 stories. When he says 11 stories,
can you imagine an 11-story building like straight down into like, I mean, that height?
No,
I mean that's huge and that's crazy.
That's the stuff of movies. That's just, it's mind
or crazy treasure hunts that have lasted over 200 years,
or things like that. It's a bit mind blowing because they start with that one hole where everybody's coming over. Rick practically climbs into a tree to get a good look.
Yeah, he's a monkey.
He is, and Billy's doing his digging, and he's trying to get some input from Doug. Yep. Doug's calling a lot of shots as to where he should be going, which was really kind of fun to see them interacting like that.
So, what do you think? Is Doug like? Okay, so is Doug kind of the understudy to Dan Henske?
I think Dan does a lot of research and he knows a lot. And I wouldn't necessarily call
Doug?
Yeah, the understudy. I'm trying to think, is he like the carrier
apprentice
of the message?
He's the apprentice.
Well, the curator?
Like, because Dan's not up there directing like Dan Henske was. Or, sorry, like Doug was.
Yes,
Doug was directing. But, I mean, he probably works really closely with Dan Henske.
I bet
got all the information, and he's maybe just a better communicator. Dan Henske's a pretty quiet guy.
Yeah, from what we understand, he's not big fan of cameras and all that fun stuff.
But he's a huge fan of Oak Island, so he tolerates it for the love of the island, right?
So Doug comes out and he's able to articulate and, pairing up with Steve Guptill, who's been amazing this season, right? I mean, he's been a key part of this.
Him and his magic wand?
Yes, he keeps showing up with his magic wand. He makes the mark once they're able to find it and says, if we can find one up there, we can get a convergence point. Yep.
And he's basically, he's like, okay, we know where this is. We can bury it again. We never have to look at it again because we know the exact spot now. I mean, it's just amazing that they can, with the technology available now, be able to pinpoint something to a millimeter or whatever it is. And, I don't know. It's incredible.
It really is. And it prevents them from having to pull a Dunfield and tear up the island. Like, okay, we've gone far enough. Let's call it. And let me do my math. Let me work my magic wand. And sure enough, it works. They go up, hit another hole, find what they're looking for, pinpoint, triangulate, get another hole where we're talking about 90 feet down. Just, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is. I want to touch on Dunfield for a second.
Sure.
He gets a bad rap.
He does.
He probably deserves it, but I mean, he was just trying to find the treasure too. I think he was probably sitting up on his tractor or whatever, digging that giant hole, thinking any minute he was going to find the treasure. And so it's hard to blame him for doing what he did, but I wish he would have kept. I think he actually did keep pretty good records. Have you seen some of the maps he drew of Smith's Cove and whatnot? But it's just hard. It kind of stinks that so much was just piled back in the hole, and I don't know. It's tough. The whole situation stuff. It would have been nice if his wrapping up the island himself would have been a little tidier, and I don't know. It's hard digging that giant hole and then losing it. Now we don't have good records of anything.
The hard thing is, imagine doing that and you're super frustrated, right? Because you've put all this time, energy, and money. And I'm sure he thought by doing what he did, there was no way he wasn't going to find it, right? I mean, why would you assume, why would you do the records the way we're wishing would be done if you are like, there's no way not to find it if we just dig the whole thing up? We've seen memes and whatever all over the internet saying, well, let's just do this and dig the whole thing up. And, well, we've tried that tactic. We know there's still something there. You
figure digging a 100-foot wide hole that's over 100 feet deep, you're going to be the one that finds it. And so that's, his mindset. It just stinks. It sucks. Because, I'm sure he had a love for the island. Like he was all in. Like literally, he was invested, and he gets a real bad rap. And part of it he deserves, but part of it, it's just like, hey, he wanted to get to the bottom of the mystery, discover the truth,
just like everybody else.
Just a double-edged sword though with him. It's hard.
It is, and it's a classic example of you're off by an inch, you're off by a mile. Even if your hole is 100 feet wide. Well, I was thinking about that with Billy digging for the sluice and asking, hey, do I go deeper? Do I go a little bit right, left? Well, according to their coordinates, it should have been there, right? And you would think you put your shovel down and it's gonna come up. Well,
it doesn't happen like that all the time.
He was literally off by an inch.
Well, that's treasure hunting 101.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
I think so.
It's so difficult to find anything.
Especially if it's buried.
No, buried's the worst.
Unless there's literally a way to pinpoint your spot.
And it's hard to do when so much other activity has been disrupting everything on the surface of the island for over 200 years. So.
Yep. Sorry, we could go on this tangent for a really long time.
We probably could. We already did. But, I wrote in here, Billy using his skills with a Z. I wrote on my notes, like a boss.
He's the boss, Haas.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Billy doing his thing.
He's a rebel.
He's the best of the best.
Everybody's out there with their reflector vests and in like pants, and they have hats, and Billy's in shorts and a polo, no hard hat, working the heavy equipment, and just like, no, I got this. People are so comfortable with his expertise, they are willing to get into the giant hole,
stand underneath his scoop
while he's in there.
Yeah.
When we're looking for a flood tunnel at any time that could, and then, like, whoa,
okay.
No.
They're not looking for the flood tunnel in that area.
No, but before, the sluice.
Yeah. I mean, but that's not like the flood tunnel, though.
No. But it's full of water and could flood your hole. So he nicks the side of it, and water starts pouring in, and you're in there trying to dig something out. That's sketch. But you know what? Did you realize that hole where they found the sideways, like the shaft towards the money pit, is where they took Maddie Blake early in the season with the preview?
Yeah, I saw Maddie say something like that on Facebook.
I didn't put that together, but it was. He got a little
Sneak
glimpse
peek,
early without really knowing. Or at least
he probably knew.
Yeah, I bet he knew, but
up.
we didn't know. But that was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. So, I don't know. It's just this whole rediscovery of this thing that was built over 150 years ago or whatever is just pretty inspiring that they have found something that they hope can lead them back to the money pit. They found the entrance to this tunnel, Shaft 9. And supposedly that was a 100-foot long tunnel that would lead to the money pit.
Well, Shaft 9 would have been your up and down call, right? The shaft. And then you would have a tunnel. They were digging a tunnel horizontally to the money pit. So Shaft 9 was, yeah, you said that, southwest 100 feet. So what we know is we're within 100 feet of the money pit.
Hopefully. They just have to follow that tunnel.
Follow the tunnel brick road. Except that doesn't really work.
Nope.
It's mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing.
That it's all there. That it's all true, as Marty would say.
It is all true. Yeah, I mean, Billy just is very present in this episode.
Yes.
Dig, dig, dig. He's doing your Snow White thing.
Yeah. Dig, 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 dig. It's what we like to do.
Yeah. And I don't know. It was fun watching him and Doug primarily and Steve, kind of the trifecta there.
Kind of the ringleaders.
Yeah, one's digging, one's scouting, and the other one is recording it all. So good for them. I appreciated the work that they did, and guess what? it got to a big discovery, right?
Well, it just goes to show you that when it comes to treasure hunting, really working with a team and a team you trust and that has a wide variety of skills is imperative. You need all those different skill sets. Not one person can know all the things.
Well, I'm glad they brought Steve Guptill in.
I really am too.
Do you think they waited to bring a professional surveyor in because out of like, I don't know. I wonder why they didn't do it before, but maybe it was because Fred Nolan was still around and he was a surveyor and he did all his work and they didn't want to like step on his toes or make him feel bad. Because I know Fred Nolan, he did it the old way, which was probably, it's what he knew and super accurate and everything. But there's so many more tools now that like, someone like Steve can use. And
well, we've seen Steve out there in the past for other things, right?
Yeah, he was he was there a little bit last season.
I think the difference is this time they wanted to bring someone in to the island full time to be able to record all these findings right away and to use them for triangulation consistently. They're seeing the value in doing that.
Yeah.
And to have a master map and to be able to quickly, like Rick said, oh, look, Steve has all these marks from today. Let's stop. We're going to go to the research center. Let Steve upload all his information and see if we can put an X on the map by the end of today.
That's what Rick said, yeah.
And without having Steve there full time, you wouldn't have had that quick of a turnaround.
He's invaluable.
Yes, and I think they just saw the value in having someone like him that's also enthusiastic about the hunt out there full time. And I think that's the difference this year. Time for a master map. He's a master mapper.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'd love to see that map.
So one of the things I thought was fun when they were really discovering that shaft area, Doug threw down his tape measure and he's like, so the records, because another guy that was really involved, sorry, we forgot to mention him, Steve Barlow.
Oh, yeah.
Or, sorry,
Scott
Barlow. He's newer to the team.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot more of him.
We've seen a lot more of him. Saw a little bit last season, seen a lot more this season. He's been very integral, to the team as well.
As the full oversight, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm sorry we forgot about you, but we didn't forget about you. Trust me. But they're working down there. Doug tosses in his tape measure. They start measuring. He's like, historical records say it would have been 12 feet by 6 feet or whatever. And
all of Dunfield's tunnels were, right?
Dunfield's?
Not Dunfield. Chapel? No, Treasure Company. I'm just going to start listing all the people that have ever been on the island. Said someone's tunnels were all the same.
The Oak Island Association.
That one, all the same.
I know there's so many people that have worked there over the years. It's like it's hard to sort it out in your brain, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like, what did they say? I think they said there's been, did they say 40 different search companies over the years or something like that? So it's easy to understand and sympathize with your brain right now saying, is it Chapel? Is it this? Is it that?
Well, that's one of the reasons to have Steve Guptill there, right? So that we can check off all these items.
And they're going to be exact pinpointed. This is where they're at.
Yep.
Yeah. So good. So anyway, it was fun to watch them throw down the tape measure it out. It came out to the same dimensions.
Yep.
And then Rick's up there literally giggling. He's like, he's giddy.
Yes.
Like
I loved it.
He was so happy.
And even Craig was super excited.
Yep.
I saw a lot of excitement out of the three that we haven't seen in a while, because they're finding new things and checking them off. There's nothing like that. I loved it. It made me happy.
It was really good. Yeah. So it was the accounts from the 1850s that said the open shafts were 6 feet by 12 feet.
6 by 12.
Yeah, and
it's pretty big.
Paul gets in there. He's recorded it. He's documenting everything with like a camera.
Yep.
So
definitely
good job to the Fellowship of the Dig.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Fellowship of the Dig is on a roll right now. So
yeah. So I'm hoping you didn't use this as a Clotworthy moment.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you did or not because I don't know. But after they found the tunnel, Robert Clotworthy says, the team has finally unearthed the connection linking the shaft to the sluiceway. This proves they have successfully discovered shaft 9.
Well,
it wasn't like a Clotworthy moment, but it was like something. It was different because it was like more of a definitive statement for once. Like they found this, like it was different.
There was no question mark.
They're like, he's like, they found it.
It's there.
That's what it is.
Could this be the blah, 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 blah.
And we don't get that very often or at all. So that was fun to hear.
It was.
You just hear Robert Clotworthy make a declaration. Like, this is what it is.
The Declaration of Robert Clotworthy. Thank you.
Or of Oak Island.
Island.
Probably of just shaft 9. Probably not as important as we're thinking here. But I mean, it is important, though. But
everything's important to us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. That was just the highlight for me to watch them. And it was just, it got me in the feels. Like, I got the feelings watching the guys just work together, and they're excited. And as you're getting closer and closer to your goal, and it's like, what? It's there. There's nothing like that, working towards a common goal and getting to celebrate.
It was a magical moment.
It was.
Those guys have been working so hard to have some kind of breakthrough like that for so long.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't find the gold. They didn't find jewels or documents or whatever that we all hope they find. They found a shaft that was buried and then redug up 150 some years later.
They found history.
They found history.
And
that's valuable too.
It is, but it just goes to show you there is still a lot of, within the research, there's still a lot to find.
Tons.
Like, you can't say that it's all been found.
Well, definitely not. And it's not that big of an island.
No. It's just like, even if you divide it into 2 drumlins, like if you're just focusing on one end, it's just
so hard. Like, we know this from experience with digging for buried treasure. It is the hardest thing to do. Like, even if you have an X marks a spot, it's just so difficult to get it within, a 1 foot by 1 foot, or even for them, if they had it like 5 foot by 5 foot area where they're sure that this was the money pit and they dug that hole down. I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to dig for anything that you don't know the exact spot where it is underground. It's just hard. Even
not knowing the original location of the money pits, kind of like, I mean, you got to have a place or the original place to start, and that's part of it. But like you said, if you have an X marks the spot, that being said, let's talk a little bit about, Eagle Canada. And
those guys are going to help us find some X's.
Yeah. So that's the goal, that they're going to be able to help us see underground and, do their echolocation dynamite.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Eagle Canada.
Yes.
And what they've done for us in the past. Okay. They've done seismic testing in the money pit.
Yes.
A lot of them. Okay. They did seismic testing in the swamp. Okay.
Yes.
And we've used that, or the guys, not we.
Not us personally.
We're joining the Fellowship of the Dig here.
I'm happy to, if you hear this, I'm happy to come out.
Yeah, of course. Me too. But so we have like all this data, and what have they found using it?
Well, they've found potential anomalies. Potential targets.
Oh, and they did the Mega Bin area too.
Yeah.
So they've done a lot already, and we're not sure exactly what they found, because imaging stuff underground is not easy, and this is a new technology.
Well, Rick states that this is cutting edge. They're pioneering and pushing the envelope of this.
Yeah, but what they're seeing is something that is worth exploring. It's just, it's hard for, I could see from a viewer perspective, like they've used this technology and they spent all this money on all this seismic stuff last season. They didn't really find anything. But when you see Rick talking to Alex Gaithier, our friend, the jolly the jolly Eagle Canada giant over there, right? The guy that's like 2 feet taller than everybody else.
Yes.
Okay. So he's like talking to him like he's just so excited to get the seismic results back.
He is.
He's just like, oh my gosh. The hardest part is waiting, between like
the lag time.
Yeah, the lag time between you guys doing your work and then us getting the results. And if if he didn't think there was much value in these results that they're potentially going to get, I don't think he would have been nearly as excited as he was after they got wrapped up. So they might know stuff that they're not sharing on the show.
No,
that's fine.
That's fine. I mean, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, they don't have to, but they must know something.
Show.
They must have something there though, because otherwise they wouldn't keep going back to him.
No, exactly. And something to remember is those areas that they've already done this in before, we know were disturbed.
Yeah.
So that being said, if they were disturbed before by searchers or whoever else that we don't know about, that's really going to skew your results. Because like the GPR guy say, you put a shovel in the ground, it's going to change the dirt forever.
Yeah, but what happens if you cover the surface of the whole drumlin with explosive charges and set them all off and then run a GPR over the ground? What's that going to look like in the future now?
True. They are... Well, and it's like they had said, which surprises me, but they mentioned that doing this was less expensive than doing... continuing to do just random sonic drilling.
I guess, man, they had...
I mean, I haven't seen the spreadsheets. So
they've got 18,000 charges, 35 guys working. The sonic drill is not taking 35 guys to work it.
No,
sonic drill is something that's already a developed technology that they, it's not experimental like this seismic testing. There's zero chance that costs less.
Yeah,
the seismic testing costs less than the sonic drill.
Okay, but the sonic drill is going to cost you more if you don't truly have a target because you're guessing. You're just consistently putting them down, pulling out new choice sausage. At least if we compare it with the seismic testing, we may have potential realistic targets versus let's just keep Swiss cheesing it like we've done over in the money pit area, which causes trouble long term.
Very true.
Boom.
Goes the dynamite.
Thank you. Lots and lots of dynamite.
Yeah. Yeah.
They show up and I think Alex asked if they were ready. Was it Marty? Yeah. We're ready.
Yeah. Jack was really stoked to watch those miniature explosions.
Craig looked stoked. Marty was excited. He kept being like,
Yay! Literally, they would not be that excited if they're not getting any kind of good results, with the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
If Eagle Canada is looking at these results from the swamp, the mega bin, and the money pit from last year, and says to them, and fabricates whatever to make it, we should make this look like a ship in the swamp to get them to go dig and be excited about our work there or whatever. Okay.
There's no benefit.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe that's going through some listeners' minds or some conspiracy theorist minds. Maybe they're just trying to make people excited when there's nothing there or whatever. I don't think that's the case. Marty, Craig, and Rick, the three amigos, the three guys on top.
That's right.
The guys controlling the whole show.
Yep.
They would not be as excited about Eagle Canada and the seismic stuff if there's no fruits. And I bet you anything they know stuff that we don't know, and that's
of course
that's their prerogative.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a show, and they're going to be showing it to us in the order that makes the most sense.
Exactly.
Okay, it's not our show to choose how it's shared.
We just got to watch it.
I would agree. I'm glad to go on the journey with them.
Yeah. Well, we're just excited that they get to share that stuff with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
For years and years and years and decades, nobody knew what was going on in Oak Island unless somebody went down there, did some kind of newspaper article, did some kind of book, and then that's it. Nowadays, we know so much.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame.
I'm just happy we get to be, they're taking the people that have interest in this along for the ride. And I just hope, one day maybe we'll get a big treasure. One day maybe everybody will have to throw in the towel, but
today's not that day.
It's an awesome ride.
It is. It is. Let's see here. Oh yeah. So when they're working with Eagle Canada, we know there's so many of them, and you get the pan of all the tiny little flags, and it looks like a forest of flags. You're like, geez. But they do Smith's Cove, the cave-in pit area,
and your Highlands,
and the Highlands. Man. I mean, that's a lot.
You're real excited about those Highlands.
I am. Bring on the Highlands. I'm game.
The Highland Games?
Yeah. See what I did there?
I see what you did. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Woo woo.
So, I mean, yeah. I mean, they did 18,000 charges. At the end of the show, Rick actually says 20,000 charges. So maybe it was closer to 20,000. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure they give an estimate, and then when you are going up hills or you're in tricky areas, I'm sure more have to get laid down. So, but it was fun. Poof, poof. You see all the little explosions and
the rocks jumping.
Everybody's getting excited.
Yeah. I liked it when the rocks were jumping.
Jump around.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
So, yeah, good stuff. And hopefully we'll get those results the next couple weeks. Yeah. They might make us wait a little bit.
I bet they're going to make us wait a little bit.
They've been moving real fast on some stuff. Like
they have.
Last season, episode 1, Rick's Big Bang Theory or whatever it was called. That's when Eagle Canada first came to start doing the seismic testing, right? And I think they let off the first couple charges at the end of that 2-hour episode.
Oh, yeah, huh?
And then the next episode was them continuing to do more charges. And I think they wrapped it up at the end of the 3rd episode. And now they're doing, like, I don't know.
Finding a shaft and blowing up half the island?
Well, I know, but I mean, just Eagle Canada is doing their bit in, like, one episode. And they come, they blow it up, and they go, all wrapped up nicely in one episode. And so it's just funny how things progress. And, you know, it could be this last season. They didn't have as much to tell us because it was the beginning of the season. And now we're, you know, a little bit deeper into the season, and they just have more stuff to be able to share.
Well, let's see here, 6 episodes in to the official season. And we know there's quite a few episodes in this season, and that they spent at least, 7 months out on the island based off of just, in general, what I've seen. I mean, it's not like I'm clocking their hours or anything. Sorry, I can't see it from here. So, yeah. That's exciting. Should we move on to, I don't know, metal detecting? Or do you have anything else?
Well, you know, I'm looking at my notes, and it has to do with the metal detecting, so let's move on.
Okay.
Who's metal detecting today?
We have today.
Not today.
On Tuesday, when it was released. We are on lot 32 with Gary and
Peter. Finetti.
Yes. More Peter.
Yeah, he's starting to shine.
He is, and I like that it felt very much like Gary teaching him. It felt like young Padawan.
Look at this. We have all these Padawan moments.
I love it. I love the kind of what feels like we're training up the next generation of treasure hunters.
Yeah, are you excited for Star Wars next week?
Sure.
You don't seem real excited.
Sorry, it's not on my countdown. I'm stoked about Oak Island because it's here in reality.
Is it? It is.
It's not in space.
It's on your TV. It's not like you get to go there.
Yeah, but it's a real place. It's not.
Well, so is a galaxy far, far away, okay?
Yeah, but...
Anyway, I'm excited for episode 9.
What's that have to do with metal detecting? Are you going to metal detect on the moon or wherever?
I would love to.
I know you would.
What are you going to find there?
I don't know.
Meteorites?
Moon rock?
Yeah, meteorites. Okay.
That's all I got.
I don't know. I bet our listeners are excited for episode 9.
I bet they are.
Yeah. So that's why.
What did you have about metal detecting?
Okay. So they start metal detecting.
Correct.
Gary has a hit. And he's like, I don't like that. And he walks by. He's like, This is funny. He's just like modern junk or whatever. And then they do find a good iron hit. They dig it out, and it's some kind of decking spike, a little tiny thing, right?
It looks small.
Yeah, but they take it to the blacksmith later on. He says, yeah, it would have been longer, but we'll get there.
So much corrosion.
Yeah, and so, but Gary's like, well, this reminds me of the spike that we found in the swamp 3 years ago. And then there's a flashback.
A flashback?
A flashback. But the part that I wanted to talk about was the flashback. We had Dr. Lori Verderame. I think that's how you pronounce her name.
Yeah.
And she's telling them how she, or, what it was, because she's an expert in that kind of artifacts. And it was just funny because I remember that episode that Jack was like, because they didn't show it on the flashback, but it was just funny because I remember seeing it in my head. Jack was like, "Well, does this mean that?" And then she's like,
"Are you sure?" Or,
and then she looks at him like, "Dude, like don't question me." Yes, I think it's that. And I don't know. You guys have to go back and look at that because I don't remember it off the top of my head.
I thought it was such
a funny moment because she's like trolling Jack. That's what I wrote in my notes, that she trolled Jack.
Yeah, because I think I probably would have done the same thing, though.
Yeah,
I've been
I guarantee you would have.
I would have been like, are you questioning me about something I'm an expert in and you're not?
Yeah, it was funny.
You're right. I definitely
So that was 3 seasons ago. I guess go back and look at that stuff because that's gold.
Yes.
You know, while I'm on this,
I
want some feedback from the listeners on something. Should we make a soundboard with like Oak Island random like sounds? And okay, so like if we wanted to play that clip of Dr. Lori, you know, trolling Jack, and we could have just pressed a button to do it, is that something you guys would want to hear? I bet they would.
They would, but here's the thing.
What?
We have this nice little soundboard here, and it's got the 3 buttons plus 1 effect. Okay, so
That's not a soundboard.
It's a mixing sound
thing.
boardy thing, okay? And I use 1 button for our winning Clotworthy moment.
Yeah.
I use the second one for the first option of this week, and the third one for the second option of this week. I'm out of buttons.
Okay, but you just use a website or something, or you have your sounds saved in a folder, and you click on it when you want to do that sound. Pretty easy.
I have a folder full of sounds over here, but then you get to hear my mouse go click, click, click.
Get a quieter mouse, and maybe we could do this in the future. It would be fun.
Maybe. Okay,
we'll talk about it.
Or since we're asking our fans, he's springing this stuff on me, by the way. Not very nice, but
I'll spring more on you later.
Oh, that's weird. Okie dokie.
Carry on.
Carry on. So Dustin wants to know if we should make a soundboard, apparently.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun.
And if so, what sounds should be on said soundboard?
Well, just all the fun ones, of course.
Well, there's a lot of fun sound clips.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you can think of a fun one that we might use for whatever, tell us what episode, tell us, and we'll go and try to capture it.
Mark exactly when it came on. Tell us which episode. Could you do the work for us? That'd be great.
Yeah, if they could, that'd be great, right?
Actually, yeah, if you could, that would be great.
We'd give you props.
We'd be like, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So Gary was very satisfied with his find.
Yes, he was.
All right. What else did they do?
They found a second find, obviously.
Yes, and it's a big cribbing spike, apparently. It looks just like the stuff they found near the, what's that?
The slipway.
Slipway.
That one thing in Smith's Cove, the
thing they're bumping out the cofferdam to look at?
Whew. And it looks like a big L, and it's definitely been worn down from...
The middle of it looks really thin compared to the other two ends, so...
Yeah, I mean...
We're talking about the cribbing spike.
Yes, the cribbing spike. Definitely very... very worn down. He talks about it being wrought iron, and that you could see it looks almost like a grain, even though it is metal.
Yeah.
And explaining this stuff to Peter and what it is.
Yeah, I appreciate him taking those steps to tell Peter more about it. You know, that's the way that Peter's going to learn and be able to be the next great metal detector.
Padawan.
Master.
Unpadawan.
No,
is that a word?
When you okay, so in Star Wars, when you unpadawan, you become a knight. Okay.
But do they use the term unpadawan?
No.
Okay, I just made up a word.
Yes.
Unpadawan.
So either you're kicked out or you become a knight.
You get kicked out or you become a knight.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Or you become a Sith. That's much closer. For you.
To what? Unpadawan?
No.
Or I'm a Sith.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, thanks.
You identify as a Slytherin. So that's basically the same thing in my book, okay?
Okay, but the test says I'm a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I know.
So this is a very confusing thing.
Yeah, but you self-identify as a Slytherin. And I see the Slytherin in you, okay?
Aw, I love you too.
I love you three.
So
they take these finds to Carmen Leg.
It's Peter's idea to take him to Carmen's Leg, and he doesn't get to go on the field trip.
Poor Peter. He had something else to do. It was not in the same day. It's not like...
I don't know. But Alex and
he had a class
Gary.
to go catch or something, you know? Like, he's like... I think Peter's like in his 20s or something, but he looks like he's a teenager still going to high school.
No, I'm sure he's in... yeah, he's got to be in his 20s.
Yeah. Oh, I'll guarantee it. He's been on the show for a long time.
Well, yeah, I guess the show has been on a long time, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, Lot 32 said, let's go check these out with Carmen Legg. Blacksmith over in New Ross.
Yep.
And Gary gets to go, and
Alex.
Peter's buddy Alex get to go.
Peter's buddy?
I bet they're best friends. That's what I see in my brain.
Yeah, okay. BFFs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they could be on like an Amazing Race team together.
Oh, they'd be killer.
Yeah. I'll campaign for that. Okay, cool.
All right, so we had them, and they're talking to Carmen Legg. Carmen Legg's like, he seemed impressed with the find. He's like, look at that corrosion. And he's like, you could tell this was much longer at one point. And with the amount of corrosion on this piece, I'm not, from what it sounded like to me, he said he wasn't surprised that they're not finding a whole bunch of them, even if there were a whole bunch at one time, because the amount of corrosion on this, that corrosion could have easily eaten all the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's probably a few hanging out, but because there would have been like probably, thousands and thousands of these things if a ship did get beached or wrecked in that area. So they would just be everywhere. But with the amount of corrosion, he's not surprised that they're not finding them left and right.
Especially if it's within the salt water, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just would have eaten it. Ooh, that'd be terribly unfortunate.
Yeah, it would.
Anyhow.
So what year did they date the find from?
That was kind of part of the problem was, I mean, they stopped making them the
1810s.
Yeah. So he's saying anywhere from the 1500s to the 1700s that they would have stopped making them. That being said, they could have stopped making them, but the ship could have been around longer, or the nails or whatever you want to call them have been around longer and then were used on a ship. But yeah. Anywho, it's hard to date stuff like that, especially with the corrosion and the pitting, and we're not going to send everything off for dating.
But the reason he was able to give a date of around 1810 is because the way it was made with that little, what do they call it? Like
it's a lip?
No,
a shelf.
Shelf.
That's what they call it, a shelf.
They stopped doing that around 1810. So that's how he knows it wouldn't be like an 1850 find. Unless somebody was using some old nails at the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably reusing items. You don't make everything brand new.
Well, some
not
things,
very efficient.
Yeah, I mean, Legg said that the little shelf on the spike would indicate a scupper used in shipbuilding, like what Fred Nolan found 50 years ago. He found other stuff like that back
That's right.
a long time ago.
Ship parts, scuppers included. Scuppers included. But wait, there's more.
I thought it was weird that Alex and Gary didn't show him the cribbing spike.
I did too, but if they know obviously what it is, and they probably did show it to him, it just was a little bit redundant, and they opted to cut that out for other things within the episode. Would be my guess.
It was a jam-packed episode, so they had plenty of stuff to show us. Yep. And then what else happened? I think we have a big war room meeting, right?
Let's see here. We had I'm just knocking everything over. Is the war room the last of what we have? I think so.
Yeah. So we had Darcy O'Connor, his daughter Miranda.
Yep.
Who's a researcher as well. Darcy is an author, researcher, journalist.
But Darcy's been researching for, they said, over 50 years.
Well, since 1970. That's almost 50 years.
Well, 1970 is when he did the article, right? And that's a lot of time researching, and like we were saying earlier, obviously there's still more to find within the research.
Yeah, for sure. And they were talking about, so his first article was something that was in the Wall Street Journal. And it was, let me see here. I typed down what the headline of his piece said. It said, "The Money Pit. Businessmen explorers hope to solve mystery of of Canada's Oak Island. Intricate tunnels discovered in 1795 may contain gold left by kid or nothing.
Or nothing. I mean, hasn't that kind of been the thing all along?
Yeah,
it could be nothing.
Well, I don't think there was any tunnels found in 1795, right?
No, I think there was just speculation about some of these.
Oh, I mean, what are they going to put in the headline, right?
Yeah, it's a headline. You got to get them to read your article.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I need to find that article and read it.
I was thinking it would be really nice if we could collect all these different articles and be able to have them together, maybe within our Facebook group for people and for ourselves to be able to come back and reference some of those things easily within an album or something.
Yeah.
So we should track that down.
Well, you know what? That's a good idea. We actually had a listener write something on our Facebook page. And it says, this is from Heather Wheeler, Ciphers. Okay, it says, can you do an Oak Island book club? I'd love to discuss Zena Halpern's book. I can't decide if I believe in the theory or not. And the Randall Sullivan book, which is on my to-read list.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that would be a good off-season thing. Like, we thought about doing it last off-season, but we were busy with, being on Expedition Unknown and stuff.
And so many
and digging
things.
for buried treasures
that
aren't Oak Island. But, maybe this next off-season we can do something like that.
Yeah, and the question is, how do we do it as a book club? Do we do it as a separate group? Do we do it as a podcast type of series?
I think we basically read a chapter, do a podcast like that's a half hour long or whatever, maybe an hour or whatever, depending. Maybe it's a live podcast where the other listeners can tell us their thoughts. They could chat with us, and then we can just do like a live podcast where we talk about the chapter, and that's it.
Or a couple, maybe we break it up, over X amount of weeks. And then if you can release it, say, hey, okay, next week we're going to do ABC.
I mean, I'd be willing to do it during the season if we made it like another Patreon.
Like a bonus thing.
Goal. But it's a lot of work to do that kind of thing.
It is.
And it's, so I mean, we might be able to do it, but definitely during the off season, probably can make that happen. So.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It definitely allows us all to have a conversation naturally about all this research and such that is out there, especially, like you said, Zena Halpern's, and be great to do with Darcy O'Connor's book.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, he has a couple books. He had the Money Pit. That was his first book.
Yep.
He had a revised edition called The Big Dig. And he has the book, The Secret Treasure of Oak Island. And that's one of the ones that's on Audible.
Yes, it is. And he just released the most updated version of that, too. But yeah, that's on Audible. That's how I have his book, is through the Audible version. I like the way it's laid out, and I like the narrator. So.
audibletrial.com/OakIslandPodcast.
Way to throw that in there.
Get those books for free right now.
That's right.
Or at least one.
Yeah, I mean, pick your Oak Island book.
Yeah. Yeah, go do that. But, yeah, I mean, I would like to read these so that I know more about his theory. I like his theory.
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah. So let's start at the top, though.
Okay.
Okay, so who was in the war room with Darcy O'Connor and his daughter Miranda?
A bunch of people, except for Marty, who joined via teleconference.
I was missing Billy, though. But that's okay.
He's
we had
too
Rick.
Busy digging.
We had Rick, Charles, Dave, Craig, and Jack, and then Marty via teleconference.
Yep.
And it was funny. Darcy was reminiscing about the first meeting he had with Rick and Marty, right?
Yeah.
What do you call them?
The Michigan mob.
They were there to take over the island, I bet.
Yeah.
I guess, huh?
Well, they were. Let's see here. What did Marty say? He said Darcy, was doing a talk about the debunking the debunkers.
Yeah.
And that's when they had first met, and all he knew about them is they were from Michigan. So
the
Michigan mob. And that is pretty much what I want to call them now.
Yeah, well, I think it must be an endearing term now.
Uh-huh.
Back then, it was probably like, well, thanks.
Yeah, right.
You know? But
well, because it was a bunch of Michigan guys.
Yeah, and they took over the island.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, when it was just mostly Dan Blankenship,
mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people had access to the island back then. So
no, not the same way.
I think this mob has opened it up to a lot more people.
Mm-hmm. They had no idea that this would happen, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not like this.
No.
Yeah, I mean, his theory that he goes into is about the Spanish conquest of the Incas and Aztecs taking billions of gold back to Europe in Spanish galleons.
Mm-hmm.
The same kind of galleons we're really hoping to find in the swamp, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so in 1525, he says that they discovered the Gulf Stream,
mm-hmm.
and that was the optimal route to take back to Europe from the Americas.
Yep.
And that he thinks a ship laden with gold may have got shipwrecked, pushed off of the Gulf Stream during a storm or something,
mm-hmm.
got shipwrecked near Oak Island, and basically became a beach ship. And he said there's a lot of people on these ships that were really smart.
Yeah.
Like they had engineers, they had...
they were big ships with a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, because when they were doing their stuff in the New World, they had to have people that could smelt the,
mm-hmm.
Break down the gold, break down the silver.
Mm-hmm.
They had to have just the people that were educated to do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if they have a few of these educated people on Oak Island when they have a broken down ship,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, well, we don't want this stuff stolen
mm-hmm.
by pirates, privateers, the navies of the English or the French, because they're basically in their territory.
Right.
And so they said, let's dig a hole, bury it, and
guard it with
flood tunnels.
And something I was thinking about with this is I could see that being very possible with like Charles said, we found plenty of Spanish things.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But we've also found plenty of like other countries, right? So if potentially we're even looking for a French treasure and we're seeing both of these, what if indeed it was pushed off track, the Spanish galleon, and came across some French in their territory, and
the French just took it all and then buried it themselves?
Yeah, or they
Maybe
discovered them burying it there, or they used them as a workforce to bury it.
Could be.
I mean, there's
the English could have done it too. They found English stuff there. They found French stuff. They found Spanish stuff. Everybody was on this island. It's the Epcot.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is the Epcot of Nova Scotia.
It's the melting pot of the old world, of the old new world,
of the old new world.
Well, it was the new world back then, right?
No,
everybody converged on Oak Island for some weird point. Weird.
Oh, there's just that. I think that's just really. It's really interesting though how he talks about so many ships.
Yeah, Marty's like, he asks him specifically, how many ships disappeared en route back to Europe from Havana?
Yeah.
And Darcy said, well, it was over 200. And that's a lot of ships just to go poof.
That was my thought. Poof.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all at the bottom of the ocean?
They could be, yeah. I mean, that's probably what Gary is finding over in Florida.
That's what I was thinking. Is that why...
They're going to find some more of that, that ring that he found.
With the Inca gold, yeah.
His main Bobby Dazzler, the Spanish gold. I mean, that's what they're going to find in the money pit.
Yeah, probably. I
Stacked to the
wouldn't
roof.
be surprised. I mean, the Spanish makes sense. But every other theorist makes sense to me,
That one
too.
ring that Gary found, that's like in pristine condition. Mm-hmm. It's worth over $500,000 for one ring. So imagine what they find in there, right?
Oh, it's just mind-blowing.
If Darcy O'Connor's theory is correct, anyway.
Yeah, if his theory is correct, and for someone that's been researching so long, he's got a lot of great information, but we've also seen a lot of theories come through.
Yeah, so. Charles does chime in. He said, he lets Darcy know. Darcy already knows this.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Of course.
He's just like, yeah, we found a lot of, Spanish artifacts here, so, I mean, it makes sense.
Yep.
Rick asks him, so you definitely think something is still here?
Yeah, I don't think you're chasing empty holes.
Yeah,
is what he says.
That was his thing. They did bring his daughter into the conversation a little bit too, right? Not very much, but they're like, "Hey, what do you think about your dad's ideas?"
Oh, that's what I grew up with.
Yeah, grew up my whole life.
Yeah, he kind of rolls his eyes, typical dad thing, like, "Okay, thanks."
Yeah, but she must be in on it, or she must be down with it. Down with it.
Yeah, enough that she's willing to come with her dad, and but I get where she's coming from, where you're saying, well, this is what I've been around so much that, of course, my mind's within that set.
Yeah. Well, your parents can be very
influential
and convincing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Rick looked really pleased with that answer, though, about the I don't think you're chasing empty holes.
Yeah. Oh,
like
I'd be thrilled.
Well, if you spend all that money, I think Rick would be satisfied with empty holes, but if he had answers.
Yeah, if there were answers.
I don't know if Marty would be satisfied with empty hole. Maybe.
I don't know. I tend to think if you're spending this much money here on the island, it's a lot of, well, you can't take it with you. Why not have some fun and adventure along the way?
So Forrest Fenn's doing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously his children are coming up, and we're seeing the next generation of people. So he's
passing the torch.
Passing the
torch.
Was
the name of the first episode of the season.
Yep.
Hey, if you guys don't know who Forrest Fenn is, because I just brought that name up,
true.
And if you don't know, he hid a treasure in the Rocky Mountains back in 2010, and he put out a poem that has clues in it that will lead you to this treasure. He's never said it's buried. It's just hidden, but it could be buried. I don't know. But it's hidden somewhere in the Rocky Mountains, and it's said to contain $2 to $3 to $4 million worth of treasure in it. It's like got gold, jewels, ancient artifacts. That treasure hunt is going on right now, and that's something you can go and look for. Yeah. But not in the winter, because...
Please, yeah. Unless, I guess, you're looking at an area that's not treacherous in the winter.
No, it's going to be treacherous, because that treasure is above... Oh, gosh. I think he said 10,200 elevation.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if you're looking in, like, New Mexico or something.
We're not experts on this one, obviously, but a lot of people love that treasure hunt, so I just wanted to throw that out there in case someone's like, Forrest Fenn, what's that?
Yeah, what's a Forrest Fenn?
There's a lot of people looking for it. And there should be. There's millions of dollars at stake.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of the end of the episode, right?
It is.
And it was a fun one. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of good stuff there.
I feel like there was a lot of information there. And then we also got a glimpse into next time.
Oh, my gosh. Next time on The Curse of Oak
That
Island.
was jam-packed.
Yeah, it was. Like, I have, like, a whole page of notes just on the next time on.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Like, I wrote a few sentences, but you did say your notes were...
extensive.
Very thorough this time.
Well, they started off with removing portions of the old the cofferdam that they put up in Smith's Cove last year.
Yep.
And the flood came in.
Open the floodgates.
Well, that was their own little flood tunnel.
Yep.
A metal flood tunnel right there.
Been great if they like put a rubber duck out there to watch it like freak out when I don't know. It's just a thing I think about. Fun things.
Just watch it get sucked through. Like
no, because they're pushing water on the inside.
Yeah, it would be funny if you put it on the other side, though, and like you put a whole bunch of stuff on the other side. Yeah. But that'd be a mess.
That would be a mess.
Yeah. So they're obviously bumping out the Smith's Cove cofferdam.
Yeah, we said we were doing like a rectangular bump out.
So that means Irving Equipment Limited is coming back.
Yes,
and I saw specifically Mike Jardine. He's the guy that's one of the leads that I think he is the lead.
Yeah.
That was involved with the cofferdam last year and obviously this year.
Yep.
And there is, let me see, it says, Rick says it's 10 feet underwater. Like they're talking about some structure. Or no, I think Mike Jardine said that there's a structure down there, and Rick said it's 10 feet underwater. So...
Well, I thought Mike said that it was about 10 feet.
Either way... It sounded like Rick, but yeah, it could be.
We know that there's a structure 10 feet under.
But maybe they're talking about something completely different.
They could be throwing us for a loop.
Yeah, they editing in these TV shows is wonky sometimes. But, I mean, they probably don't try to throw us off. Maybe, I don't know.
A little bit when it comes to the teasers, but it does give us an indication that there is something under there. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So what happens next on the preview?
Let's see here. I wrote down that Doug explains that if we found shaft 9, then the disturbed area in the photo that they're looking at should be shaft 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which means they could triangulate. Enter Steve Guptill.
Yep. Send him in with his magic wand.
That's right.
He'll give you pinpoints for all these locations and triangulate to find that elusive X marks the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Now, I'm trying to remember shaft 2,
mm-hmm.
which... Do you remember what searcher that would have been... I'm assuming it's the same company.
Maybe not. I mean, maybe the shaft numbers were an after the fact thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe shaft 1 is basically
the money pit.
Well, basically Daniel McGinnis, Anthony Vaughn, and John Smith. But I don't know. Like we're not experts, right?
No, we're not. But I think we should probably look that up.
We probably should.
If we're doing a podcast, we should probably know that.
Yeah. We're learning as they're showing on the show. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, Doug does that. Then we had more choice sausage was made.
Choice sausage.
Sonic Drilling's back.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't gone very long, were they?
Nope. So obviously they got a target of some kind.
Yeah. And Steve Guptill was like there, like running the show.
He was
like
stoked.
He's slicing
it
open. He's like, there's a lot of wood that was found. So I wrote that lots of wood found with Steve taking charge.
Yep.
And Doug and Charles were there.
Yep.
So
go Steve.
Yeah. And then we hear Gary. Woo! Look at that.
Oh, I wonder what he found.
I don't know. He found something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wrap it up with inside the cofferdam bump out.
Mm-hmm.
A big wooden wall was found.
Oh yeah.
Like it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like huge. That's what they I think showed in this season on Oak Island after the first episode where something falls on Jack. Like the
poor
wood.
Jack.
Like, I think it was just like some dirt.
Yeah, but
he's getting buried alive in the money or in the Smith's Cove.
You know, that compact, wet dirt and clay, that hurts.
I think he's fine.
If you don't expect it and you're getting smacked in the back of the head, maybe that's why we see him a little less. He's taking it easy. He's had more chiropractic appointments after that.
But we heard him on the Booze and Bourbon podcast, so I think he's fine.
He's fine. Doesn't mean his back's not sore. Just because he's alive, he can, do his thing.
So you think they did that Would You Rather on that podcast where he was just like laying in traction?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So guess what? He's fine.
Fine.
He's a tough young man.
Fine is a relative term.
Okay. All right.
So we're going to argue over, whether or not someone we don't know is fine.
Yeah. So anyway, they're scooping out. You know who's doing that, right?
Everybody's scooping.
No.
Billy's scooping.
Billy is scooping.
Of course.
I didn't see him, but it had to be Billy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Laird, he says, I don't know why this is here.
Yeah,
I don't know
shocked.
what this would be.
Yeah,
he looks very shocked. And Rick says, this might be bigger than we thought. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's the end.
Yeah, I would also like to point out that something I was impressed with is when Billy was digging that last hole, he was working 2 excavators. He was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to get the other machine and use that one over here. I'm like, that's kind of impressive.
He's a jack of all trades.
No, he's the master of the dig.
And he's the master of all trades too. Okay?
Yeah, that was impressive. But lots of digging to happen.
Fun episode.
It might be bigger than we think. I noticed we didn't have any Laird this episode, so he has obviously been busy over on lot 21.
Probably.
He's tied up a bit. All right. What do we got next?
What do we got?
It's Clotworthy time.
Heck yeah. So,
or do you want to do any of these first?
Oh, it's fine. Okay, let's do our shout-outs.
Let's do a couple shout-outs
to the shout-outs.
A couple of our favorite people. Well, I guess
we don't really know
we
them
don't have
real well, but I bet they're very awesome.
I bet they are awesome. Why? Because they're patrons.
Yeah, we have patrons.
Yeah.
If you want to be a patron, you can go to Oak Island or patreon.com/OakIslandPodcast.
Yes.
And show us your support.
They are part of the exclusive patron club.
Yeah. So who are we giving shout outs to for our patrons that are supporting us on Patreon?
Let's see here. The first one being Jennifer Green So we've seen more of her lately.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer. We really appreciate it.
Okay, and? Oh, you want me to read it?
Yeah, I was hoping you would pick one.
Okay, so we have Darlene Hanley.
Ooh.
Thank you for supporting us via Patreon.
We
hope you guys love your trading cards.
Yes. If you are one of our patrons and you haven't received your trading cards yet, it might be because you're in Canada or a different country.
I guarantee that's why.
Yes, I think all of our U.S. customers, recipients have received them. Mm-hmm. And then please let us know when they do show up, just so we know, because we did send these out a while ago, your cards, and we want to make sure you received them. And since this is our first time mailing them out, we really want to make sure we had everything in order.
Yeah, so
it just helps us.
Our Canadian recipients and our friends in Canada, it could take up to 3 weeks, and we're sorry. It's a long time, so. Especially,
I guess, since they're coming from the U.S., but we really we want to know that you've received them. When you do get them, let us know. And of course, once the next one is ready to go for this next round, it'll get put in the mail. And then hopefully that way you'll be at that exact kind of rotation, every 3 weeks. 4 weeks. For sure. Because it's every month that you get a new set.
Yeah, so, I think I might as well read one of these card backs because we haven't done that on the podcast yet. Okay, which one do you think we should read? Alex? Billy?
Sure. No, let's do... Did you do Dave or... Because you've already done Rick.
How about let's do Gary?
Okay, we can do Gary.
Gary Drayton, the King of England. That's what his trading card says, okay?
So if you're not watching the YouTube channel, you can't visually see this, but we're just showing the front of the card, and then Dustin's going to read the back of the card, which is the story that comes on the back of Gary's card.
Yeah, each of the cards have these fun little stories, okay? Can you describe what the front of the card looks like?
The front of the card is Gary in a swamp pulling out Excalibur, drawing his eyes towards the sky.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing that Deidre made. Okay, so the back of the card says, Gary Drayton. Little did Drayton know that when he suited up with his lucky snorkel on a cold summer morning in 2019, that he'd soon command a kingdom. Whoso pulleth this sword from the stone is rightwise born king born of all England. Those immortal words were thought to be only a myth. However, with the retrieval of the legendary sword Excalibur from a stone in the swamp of Oak Island, Drayton is now set to ascend to the throne of England. King Drayton has opted to rule not with a crown on his head and a scepter in his hand, but instead with his trusty snorkel and his Mind Lab CTX 3030 metal detector. Could it be?
Could it be? Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's fun stuff. So they all have fun little stories like that, and we're going to be mailing these kinds of things out every single month.
Yep, for our patrons. And then we did get a voicemail asking about how to get the cards, right?
Yep, so go to I did it again. Yeah. Go to patreon.com/OakIslandPodcast, and you could get your very own set if you support us there.
Yep.
Yeah, support us there. And Deidre's working on a way to get a way to just get them if you don't want to do a monthly subscription. But if you do the monthly subscription through Patreon, you just get them mailed to you like at the start of every month. So
and
it's way easier.
Expensive.
And they'll be less expensive. So it'll be way easier, and I would just recommend doing that. But if you just want a way to...
If you want to do a one-off...
Yeah. Like if your favorite character from the show, if your favorite crew member from the show wasn't in this set, like say your favorite's Marty, guess what? Marty will be in the next set. And so you'll be able to just buy the Marty set if that's the only one you want.
And let's explain real quick. So there is, as I say, a series, right? Which is Pirates, Knights, and Kings, Oh My, which is this first series. Within each, and there's 18 cards in that series. And within that, you have 3 sets.
Yep, and set number 1 was released this month.
Yes, that's the one that's got Rick in it. And then our next set, which is coming out in January, will have Marty in it.
Yep.
Okay, and that'll be a set of 6. And then the next set within that series is going to have Craig in it.
The 3 amigos. Yep. They're the ones going to be leading those sets.
Yep.
And they're just awesome. They're fun. Everybody that's received them has enjoyed them. Gary Drayton, we showed them to him. We're mailing some to him right now. And he says Game of Thrones eat your heart out. Like he thought they were great because they're all kings and knights and pirates, oh my, or whatever she said.
Pirates, knights, and kings, oh my.
Yeah.
And then, so once we get through that first series, which is those 3 sets, we're going to have a new series. That'll be a new theme. That's why we ask, recommendations are always fun.
Yeah, I think Deidre wants to do some kind of extreme sports theme.
I think that would be fun.
Teaching the guys of Oak Island.
Yep.
It'd be fun. So,
but I just want to explain
tuned.
that for those who weren't sure, why certain why certain cast members weren't in there, things like that. Just so you know they are coming. It's just they're part of that series.
Okay, is there anybody else to give a shout out to?
Woo. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let's see here. I want to give a shout out to the Oak Island Raw group.
Okay,
right?
yeah. We just joined up, and a
lot of good stuff going on.
They're happy with us sharing all of our posts about our random Oak Island
our randomness
stuff to them. So we appreciate that, and thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting us in and letting us be us.
You guys should go join it too.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed it personally. There's a lot of great groups over on Facebook, and it's just a great way to talk with others about our favorite island.
Yep. Very like-minded people.
Yes.
Right? We also started a group of our own for the podcast a couple months ago, but we haven't really been posting in it until this week. And so it's a Facebook group called Could It Be an Oak Island Group? So
very original.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, I think, probably 100, 200 people in it or something. So it's very small, but we interact with people, with our listeners there, and we interact. I mean, it's a place where you can just post whatever you want.
Yeah, it's Curse of Oak Island.
Yeah, get feedback from us or other listeners or like-minded
just
people.
Enjoy the show.
Yeah, and
like any other group.
Yeah, it's just like any other group, but when, like, our main way of putting out information is through our Facebook group. Facebook page. And you can't just post whatever you want on that. That's only like a kind of one-way communication thing there. So this group is a way for you to post whatever you want, and then we can give you our feedback on it, and other people can too. So it's just a fun little thing. So I would recommend you go to
go join that too.
Go join both those groups. So.
And then, you know what we haven't done?
What's that?
I was excited about Clotworthy time, and then we went on our tangents.
We did. So let's hear what Mr. Clotworthy has to say this week.
Okay. So this week, we have a winner, just like we do every other week.
No, shut up.
Yeah, It was close, though, right?
It was very close. On Twitter, it was actually tied, 50-50.
Could it be?
It could be. It was. But there was a slight edge to the winner over on Facebook.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
okay, ready?
Yep. Let's hear what the winner was.
A sand-filled tunnel packed with hard clay and found some 100 feet deep beneath the cave-in pit area?
Yep.
The sand-filled tunnel with the teeth.
Yeah, the scary picture.
That's right.
Like when you said that, I didn't think about it as being like a scary image, but then I saw the teeth. Like it wasn't teeth to me before you said anything. So thanks.
Yeah. Well, you
horrified
made
me this week.
Related to something with Star Wars, and I wasn't sure what you were talking about. Regardless, when you finally saw the picture, you understood.
I did.
And it worked.
Yeah, the Sarlacc.
Yes.
That's right.
And yeah, it was a little scary.
It was scary.
But I'm glad it won.
It won. It's the winner.
Whoa, celebrate.
That was a fun one. What do we have this week for the Clotworthy moments that our listeners can vote on?
Okay. Stand by. And here's the first one.
An iron decking spike? From a ship, possibly dating back to the 1700s?
Ooh, I like the drum at the end. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it really adds to the intensity of the moment.
That was an intense Clotworthy moment, I'd have to say. I like it.
Good.
Yeah.
You ready for another one so that we can have a competition? We can vote?
Yeah. Let's hear the second one.
A scupper? For shipbuilding? Could this iron spike be connected to the wooden scuppers discovered in the swamp nearly 5 decades ago by veteran Oak Island treasure hunter Fred Nolan?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was fun.
People on Twitter went crazy over a scupper. And so it felt right to me that we need to include scupper.
Yeah, you were doing the live tweeting this week.
I was, and I'll admit, I'm not as good at it as you. I was having a hard time keeping up.
But that's okay.
Well,
yeah.
whatever.
Hey, those are good, fun, Clotworthy moments.
They are.
So how will they vote? Can they vote right here like you were trying to?
I will try to get them to be able to vote on YouTube. I don't think I've had anybody vote on YouTube before, though.
That's okay.
Okay. So you can vote on YouTube.
And you can also vote on Facebook and Twitter.
Yes. So if you go to Facebook, we are, and it's going to be on our page. So just look us up at Oak Island Podcast. You can vote there, or you can go to Twitter, and we're on Oak Island Pod. But places to find us, but not vote.
You can email us at OakIslandPodcast at Yahoo. Not Yahoo.
Yahoo!
At AOL.com. Just kidding.
Please don't scratch that.
I don't know who those people are. If you write to them, you're not going to get back to us. All right. OakIslandPodcast at gmail.com.
Why Yahoo?
I don't know.
I just don't understand where that came from.
Wow.
Yahoo! Okay, so you can find us at Gmail. You can also find us on Instagram at Oak Island Podcast. And hey, guess what? We have a phone number in case you want to leave a message.
Call. Yeah, like she said, we had a phone call. We actually had 2 phone calls, and I wish we could send play a clip of, but Deidre only has 3 buttons, unfortunately, so she can't set up another one. That's why we need the soundboard or whatever. We need some more tools here. Anyway, we had this random person call our voicemail line, leave us a 2-minute long voicemail about something completely unrelated to Oak Island. It was hilarious.
Really long.
And it was funny.
And I feel a little bad because whoever she was trying to get a hold of, she was very excited to call and was eager to see his artwork and to something about where he was going to set it up and what he needed.
I think she was trying to call someone famous. And she got us.
Well, that's unfortunate.
It was funny, though. I think we should try to clip out some of that and play it next week for our listeners because it was funny. It
really caught me off guard when we started listening to it, and I was like, I don't think this is for us. I thought that maybe the voicemail would have told her it wasn't that person.
Yeah, because the voicemail is literally us saying, could it be an Oak Island podcast? It's all funny and stuff with music, and she's
talking to whoever else
about art.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
So that was interesting, and fun. What else do we have? Reviews?
We have reviews.
Woohoo! Can't wait to share those.
Ready to hear them?
Yeah.
Okay, we got 2 reviews from Apple Podcasts, formerly known as iTunes. Right?
Formerly known as.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. The website formerly known as iTunes.
Yes.
Okay. So we got really, I'm not sure how this is pronounced. Can you pronounce this? Is it Thiessen?
Yes.
I think it is Thiessen. All right. Thiessen Haunted Barn via Apple Podcasts in Canada wrote us a review. It says, love Oak Island, then you'll love this podcast. 5 stars. Could it be? We have a lot of reviews that start with could it be.
I love it so much.
You know what? It's kind of perfect. Okay. Could it be the best place you'll get your insights on whatever is happening on the Curse of Oak Island show? They're very funny, insightful, and entertaining. So don't wait any longer and start listening now. Man, she just wrote a commercial for us. That is killer.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Or Thiessen. Them. Sorry. Thiessen Haunted Barn. Awesome. Thank you. That was great.
Really appreciate that. I find it hilarious that you find us hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's sweet. Not everybody does. Trust me. Not everybody likes us, but that's okay.
Hey, that's okay. We're not everybody's cup of tea. We don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. Everybody has different cups of tea. Everybody has different tastes.
Yeah. I don't think you even like tea.
You like black coffee, okay?
Yes, black and dark and like my soul.
Yes.
And that's why you think I'm a Slytherin.
And like your heart, yes.
Yes, okay? All the things.
And I have sweet tea, and I like that.
But then you just pour all the sugar.
It tastes way better that way.
But you can chew it, and that's gross.
No, it dissolves. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, we
don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. we want to be us.
Yeah, and obviously people enjoy it, right? This, Thiessen and
Reasons
Haunted
like
Barn
that,
enjoyed us. Okay?
reviews like that are why we keep doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, what about a review like this? Ready for the second one?
No, is it bad?
You tell me.
Uh-oh.
It says it's from Mrs. Dirtzes.
Okay.
Derzis.
Dirts.
Okay. Yeah. From America, United States. Okay. It says, overall, not bad. that's the title of this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I can deal with that.
There's more.
Oh, great.
It's 4 stars.
Aw.
Yeah. And so it says, I tend to listen to podcasts at work to provide background noise. This podcast has to be played this podcast has to be played at lunch because I pay too much attention to the conversation going on between the hosts. Overall experience is good. I love it.
So wait, why did we get 4 stars?
I don't know. 4 stars actually equals 1 star as far as Apple Podcasts goes. So,
sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's either 5 stars or nothing. So that's a little bit
5
unfortunate.
Stars or
It
nothing?
is.
Is it like all or bust?
Yeah, I think the way that they do their
calculations.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get 5 stars, that basically means you're not
the best.
You're not really good.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. And so I think they enjoyed us. They probably, I think they intend.
Because we're not background.
I think they intend 5 stars for us, but.
Maybe.
Maybe it was just a misclick.
It could have been.
Yeah. Could it be?
Well, I don't know. The first sentence was overall.
No, that's the title. Overall, not bad.
The title was overall not bad.
But it had an exclamation point.
Oh, okay.
So they're excited. That's excitement.
I love that I was not bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you.
How do you pronounce that again? Mrs. Dirts?
Dirts.
Yeah. Well,
I'm really sorry.
Even if we are just a 4 star, I appreciate the thing.
That was cool. Too. So that was great. I love the title, actually.
Yeah. Very fun. Very, very fun. All right. Those are our reviews this week.
Those are fantastic reviews.
Yes.
It's overall not bad.
Overall, not bad at all. So, I think that's about it, right? Do we have anything else we need to discuss? Oh, you know what? I said there I was going to bring up one more thing earlier.
What?
Something that I was just going to spring on you, remember?
Oh, I was hoping to avoid that.
Okay. Well, this is just another thing to ask our listeners if they're interested.
And your wife.
And my wife. I talked to you about it earlier, and you sounded a little ho-hum. And you just don't know. You just don't know. You just don't know about it.
Okay.
I was thinking, what if we switched our podcast to a live version, streaming through like Twitch, okay? And we did like a banter thing, 15, 20 minutes or whatever before the show starts, and interacted with our live chat or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go and
what?
And then we hit record I guess we're recording the whole time, but then we do the podcast and we do it live. And then, cause we're basically doing it live right now. And then we just have an interactive chat kind of going on, and we can see what they're talking about.
But when you say switch it, so are they only going to be able to get it on Twitch?
No.
But so what you want me to do is to go in and be able to edit extra.
Sure.
You want me to edit out the front half. So I will definitely say yes if you're just going to do all the editing going forward.
I don't know how.
You used to know how. I feel like you forgot.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you need to learn?
I just want to ask people if they would be interested in if we can figure it out, if we can do the podcast live, because we have a lot of fun. I don't know. A lot of people probably don't realize this. On Tuesdays, an hour before the Curse of Oak Island starts on the East Coast, we do a live stream of us just chatting about what we think is going to happen in the next episode and chatting with our live chat in our Facebook group. So, and that's been pretty popular and a lot of fun. So, I mean, if we do the actual podcast, kind of in the same format, but we pay less attention to like what's in the chat, but maybe do a little bit of that. I don't know. It would have to be.
But the extra banter is already in the Tuesday go around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, guys. You can give us some ideas. We'll have a chat about why you springing major things on me on the air.
Because otherwise, it will just never happen. You like to crush my dreams, and this is a dream.
This is not a dream. I'm not a dream crusher. You know, apparently I have a black heart and drink black coffee, but I'm not a dream crusher. I'm a real dream believer.
You're a daydream believer.
I'm a daydream believer.
Yeah.
It was in a homecoming queen?
Were you?
No.
You were on the court, weren't you?
Not for homecoming. I was a prom court.
Oh, okay.
I definitely was not.
Cheer up, sleepy Jean.
Who's Jean?
Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Yeah.
Yeah, right. So none of that actually made sense or was relative to the podcast.
Okay, but yeah, okay, you're a daydream believer.
Sweet.
That's fine. Okay, is there anything else?
Believer.
Just contact us, people. Let us know what you think.
Tell us your thoughts.
Email is easy.
Especially if you oppose Dustin.
And you can totally go and give us a voicemail. Like we already gave you the number. Do that. That'd be fun. Then she'll know. Fun. She'll hear the passion in your voice.
That would help with the passion in the voice.
Yes.
Okay, well, we better get out of here.
Yes.
So until next time.
Could it be?
You can feel that. Oh, yeah. That's cool. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's real cool. You know, I'm eager and curious to see the result.
Okay, the island eventually has to give up its secrets. I mean, look what you're doing here. It can't keep it secret anymore. It can't do it.